if a practice has a certain amount of marketing dollars in their budget, the owner dentist of that practice need to think of, well, I have limited budget. How's the best way I can spend my budget? It starts from there.
This is Growth in Dentistry, a dental intelligence podcast where we ask the question, what does growth in dentistry look like to you? I'm Katie Polson, a dental hygienist and your host. Welcome to another episode of Growth in Dentistry. I'm Katie Polson, and we are continuing our conversation on making the most of downtime. And we have 4 guests today, which is very exciting. Three, including me. Guys, I'm telling you, it's a really, really scattery day. My kids have COVID, I'm healthy, and it's rough. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm just trying not to get sick. That's okay. You know, life is fun. But I'm going to be really, really, really focused from here on out because we got 30 minutes, not a lot of time to get through the information. But first of all, if you're a first-time listener, welcome to the show. We're so happy that you're listening. This is a great space to learn about data and dentistry and all things software. Glad to have you. If you are a current customer, welcome again. First-time listener, awesome. We have an incredible, valuable tool inside of our platform, our analytics tool that is called the DI Community. It's a space where customers like you can go and ask questions from each other. We sit and kind of monitor the chat, but that's all we do. It's pretty much just people like you in it, rolling up your sleeves and asking great questions from each other on how to do whatever you're trying to accomplish. So it's a really great space. If Facebook is your thing, we have an awesome intelligence podcast community. If you want to go there, it's a great place where data nerds can come and learn from one another. And if you're not a customer and want to be one, again, this podcast is brought to you by Dental Intelligence, and we have a giveaway for those listeners to our show. If you go to get.dentalintel.com/podcast, you will get $50 when you complete a demo. So that being said, I'll also put that link in the show notes. That'll be helpful for those of you that are driving and want to do a demo. So that being said, we have Coach Steve here from Inventive Dental Solutions and Amir and Ardi from Virtual DDS Support. So welcome, DDS. I'm going to have you introduce yourself because I love you all. That doesn't mean that I can't say your name, apparently. Oh, this is a fun day. Okay.
God.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Amir, go first. Please
Amir.
introduce yourself.
Fantastic. Hey guys, I'm Amir from Virtual DDS Support. I'll hand it off to Coach Steve.
I'm Coach Steve. Everybody knows me as Coach Steve. It seems like this is all I do is dentistry. I love dental intel. I love analytic nerds. I'm one of them.
Oh, good. So glad to be in good company.
Right.
How did you guys get into Steve, start with you. How did you get into this business?
Oh, wow. So I have a business degree and I started working for a medical company. My father-in-law is a dentist in Phoenix. And what I realized is dentists are the smartest, dumbest people on the planet.
Oh, no.
And he needed help. So just actually some basic systems, strategies, leadership models, got him to double, triple, quadruple. We ended up buying, I think, 12 practices in the Phoenix area. And yeah, that kind of launched my career into dentistry.
Awesome. What about you guys? How'd you end up in this crazy world?
Well, I'm Ardi Safi. I'm one of the founders of Virtual DDS Support, and I actually got started in dentistry with pretty much my day one was really unexpected, but I got to meet a great guy that he was running a multi-location practice. He had a lot of marketing problems, and before that I was focusing on different industries, wasn't dentistry specific, and I saw the potential in dentistry, and we really went deep into the organization itself and got really hands-on. So that's how this our holistic marketing agency got started, and since then we've managed about $40 million in ad spend specific to dentistry.
Awesome. That's so good. And your teammate here. Or
Yes,
your co-founder too?
Amir. Yes, I'm the co-founder here with Ardi, an old buddy of mine. I kind of got born into dental. On my parents' side, on my mom's side, there's a few dentists, including my mom. So I was always, in that world somewhat. I
Mhm.
actually come from an engineering background, and then I got an MBA in with the focus in marketing, and then collaborated with Ardi to build this vehicle that we've created to help dentists build their own marketing engine. And it's been a great journey so far.
Awesome. That's incredible. Well, we're so glad to have you. Even though I, butchered the intro, guys, I'm super happy to have you on. It's been a great ride. So
I believe it.
So
I don't know if I believe it.
oh, you should. I am. So what?
I'm joking.
What? So our topic is making the most of downtime, and a lot of times that comes with a lot of cancellation and no show. September, or we lovingly call it September here, is this like time and space where the schedule just kind of falls apart. And we've talked about cancellation and no shows a little bit, but what actionable advice do you have, I guess, for keeping that schedule full or preparing for cancellations and no shows in September?
So I'll take this one. I love September. I've never heard that before. Listening to your podcast.
You can use it.
And I'm stealing it. So the good news is we're all in abundance. We want to share openly. And for 20 years.
Hold on. I did not create it. I
didn't?
cannot claim that I created that. All ideas are reused ideas, and anybody in marketing, everyone raise your hand in marketing knows that. So yep. Okay. All right.
Katie, everything in coaching as well, there are no new ideas out there. There's different iterations of ideas, but really there aren't. So I love September. I'm stealing it. I'm using it. It's absolutely fact. I don't need the ADA to tell me statistics on the month of September, but it is the only month of the year that shows about a 20 to 25% decline in dentistry overall for the last 25 years. And so what do? I've tried everything. I've doubled up on marketing. I've focused on fundamentals. And I was at the point 5 years ago where I just gave up because I just didn't have a solution. Actually, here was my solution. Take vacation. Get your hygienist to take vacation. There's really no way September is going to be your best month ever. Until 5 years ago, I met these guys, young marketing guys that they're like, Steve, actually, that's not true. And so the true part of September is in a dental hygiene run dental practice, we're going to have more cancellations and no shows in hygiene. And so my winning formula has always been hygiene patients seen plus new patients equal your best and worst month ever. 86% of all incoming calls are made by women. So women dominate this industry. And when you change, no matter what the theory is, it's either back to school or maybe it's the time of year, September's just a difficult month. So 5 years ago, I meet these guys and they're like, actually, no, digital marketing is not fundamentally changed or is different in one huge aspect. And that is dental cripples. And it's been hugely interesting for me to learn from these guys over the last 5 years. Dental cripples are, depressed. They're in dentures. They need implants. They have missing teeth. They want to improve their life. They want to change their life. And they don't necessarily take September off. In fact, September, I think, Ardi, I'll throw this to you. September is a good month for dental cripples. Is that correct?
100%. And we started using this keyword dental cripples as a almost like a label to people that are in desperate need of seeing a dentist for their major restorative and cosmetic work. So they're either in pain for, like, literally in pain, or emotionally in pain because they haven't seen the right dentist that can help them and get them where they need to be, and get them to their dental goals. We noticed that, there really isn't any drop in volume of people that are constantly looking for a dentist near them for these specific procedures. Now, of course, like Steve said, when it comes to bread and butter dentistry, you do see a drop because of many factors. But when it comes to major procedures, and even higher ticket procedures that don't have to be necessarily implants, you don't see a drop. Now, you have to be prepared for the month of September, and you have to make actions that can set you up and have the right fundamentals with your marketing to ensure that there's no drop. But ultimately, my response to September is it could be as good as March, it could be as good as June, if you're doing the right things and you're set up to do the right marketing and follow-ups.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And based off of our conversation before, I mean, obviously, when you talk about this coined term dental cripples, are you talking about like patients outside of the office, or are you talking about reactivating patients when you're inside of the office, or both?
This would be it would be a combination of both, but every practice have people that have been diagnosed at some point within their either active or inactive patient lists. Through dental intel, you can sort your patient based on treatment amount that they're pending, but also marketing towards new patients that are in need of high ticket procedures. Not necessarily bread and butter dentistry and hygiene and just a new patient exam and consult, but it could be Invisalign, it could be veneers, it could be implants. There are different funnels that we build to exactly accommodate downtime, and it is both. In fact, it's holistic. It's both new patients and existing patients.
Yeah.
That you can target. Yeah.
Really good. So as far as sometimes, let's focus on existing patients, because that's what we talked about before when we had our conversation. And I think that a lot of times, and that's kind of our MO here at Dental Intelligence, is spending more time on reactivating the patients and filling the holes, right? Than bringing in new patients right now. So, and you have some really great ideas on how to. It's a lot easier to say like, okay, let's like get your existing patients and just call them up and just like, let's just have them come in, it's so easy to say and
Right.
not hard to implement at all. So tell us some of your ideas about getting patients in the door that are in this like parameter that you think would fill a schedule in September.
Yeah, I mean, a few years ago, we were actually, first time I started Dental Intel, I think it was 4 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Steve actually was the one that introduced me to Dental Intel, and I was going through Patient Finder, and I was like, this is a gold mine. Like, why people are not using this? And we started sending mass texts and emails that to reactivate patients. But as more practices and more businesses aside from dentistry established automated texts and emails, we noticed that the response rates are constantly dropping because people are a little bit more numb towards it. And the guru with this is Amir. He came up with the idea of the gifts, where we try to make this humorous as much as possible, but I'll let him explain. But we have different campaigns set up. We use Dental Intel to segment specific patient base and send them.
Right. I mean, like exactly like I already said, I feel like people have become numb to getting automated text messages. You just see it, you don't even look at it. I feel like, America's been reading less. They've also been reading text messages less. So you want to send them something that's a little more humorous, get a little more interactive. So for example, for practices that have the time and are willing to do that, we kind of help them create little videos like 7 seconds long, for example, for hygiene reactivation campaigns, targeting people that haven't come in for their hygiene for a while. Like they get these giant like toothbrushes and they pretend like they're brushing their teeth for like 7 seconds, short video. We send those out, you know, it's a little humorous. They see their doctor again. They remember that they have to go in, and it's just different and it pops. And that's what we've been seeing that works. And another way of reactivating, you know, patients that are available to us, and it can clearly be seen on dental intel and bringing those guys back in is, you know, through use it or lose it campaigns. The way we kind of measure those is that we first of all, we start early. We start right after Labor Day, and until December, we try to target them through 4 texts and 4 emails. We simply target people that have treatment pending and they have insurance remaining for a certain amount, and send them these campaigns. So, for example, one gift that was, I thought was super cool was basically the doctor like in a little pot of gold, telling them, listen, you have money that's remaining in your insurance that you've already paid for, and you have these treatments. Why don't you come in and use them? So little fun ways like this, you know, to just be different and to pop out compared to whether it's a competition or to just, you know, go over that the numbness of just generic automated text messages saying, hey, come in, you're due for hygiene, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I love that. I love, and it can be a little bit scary, like putting yourself out there on a video, but it's just 7 seconds, right? Like you can do it, or there's got to be somebody in your practice who likes to be on video, whatever, maybe. Yeah.
You know,
we got some people that get creative.
Yeah,
some creative people, you know.
So Katie, I'm active with 30 practices, and when we first started this, there was that hesitancy, the fear, right, of putting yourself out there. That has gone from fear to like TikTok, social media, you know, just amazing, these small gifts. And what's cool, Katie, as a hygienist yourself, we can actually, with Dental Intel Patient Finder, we can send gifts specifically to a provider or to a procedure. So if it's Katie that we're trying to fill the schedule on, or we're adding a day, let's say, bringing you from 3 to 4 days, all you do is this, is 7 seconds of Katie. And then the GIF would be, we've been looking for you everywhere. And then that GIF goes specifically to your patients who are past due. So if they came in and they saw you, they met you, they're in relationship with you, now sending that GIF gets a significantly better response. And so, you know, Amir, I think it's genius. I wanted to drum roll the GIF because, and I'll use, I don't know if Curtis Marshall invented a pro tip, but I think Curtis Marshall was the first person that I heard say pro tip. You know, that is an incredible pro tip for any dental practice, is using GIFs. And I've seen it in my active practices, like exponentially the response rate and the read rate from patients receiving a GIF, just a little bit of humor. And so I don't think we're going to share because it's a podcast, but I have the most funny, hilarious GIFs you've ever seen in your life. So it went from fear to super creative, by provider or by procedure. The funny thing is, Katie, is a lot of dentists don't like to put themselves out there. They're like, well, my hygienist and my team does, but we have tons of mutual clients together, and I'll have a dentist in Portland literally be like, what am I doing? And I'm like, just take a 7-second video of you doing this. But everyone knows the dentist. So it's the, you know, it's the law of authority. And so when the dentist will put himself out there with a GIF, it exponentially gets a better result as well.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's like important to land on for just a minute. I mean, I did social media marketing for my practice for, I don't know how long, a long time. And every time I put so my brother was the dentist, and every time I put an image of his face, on Instagram, it got like 60% more engagement than anything else we did. And I was so mad about it because I was like, duh, he's doing nothing. He's just sitting there. Right. But it's true. They really like you as the dentist, you're the one that's trying to build a relationship with the patient and build
Right.
rapport. And it's really important. And this is the day and age that we live in now. Like if you want to approach our age group, I'm not, no, you're way younger than me. You're way younger than me. But like, if you want to, if you want to approach this age group of like, 25 to 45 who are now to the point where they're in their working age, they're getting ready to like
Right.
spend the money that they've been wanting to fix, whatever it is that they've been wanting to fix, you need to be in that space. So I love this idea.
I
Yeah.
want to give you some stats on that too. And we again use Patient Finder. We export the list and we use a for our practices that we represent. We use a texting software that does support GIFs to be sent out alongside of a message. Typically before that, when we would send out a text to let's say about 500 phone numbers, we typically would see a response rate of about 10%, which still was pretty good. And we got creative with our text messages, and it wasn't a boring text. But with the gifts, we actually had the example that Steve gave. We had a response rate of 25%. So with a single text, I remember that the example that Steve was talking about, the client did schedule about 60 existing patients, which were completely, and think of it where, even that's supplementing your day-to-day phone calls and working to follow this, but this is in addition to that. And this is not only a time saver, but also you're adding a little bit of humorous culture to your brand too. So you're not just like any other dentist.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a huge number. I mean, think about what 60 patients would like that you already have would do to your practice. That would put you months ahead. I mean, you would have all of a sudden after a text campaign, you would have the opposite problem of what you were having before. Now you have to find a place to put them in, and that's people in your practice that have seen you. They didn't have to do anything else. That's insane.
Exactly.
That's awesome. And thank you for sharing that data, because I was going to go there next. Was what does it look like? Because I think a lot of times we can say it was successful, and well, what does that mean? So thank you so much for following up with that. So next month we're talking on our show that we'll release in I don't know, in a while, about like making about a little bit more about the recession and like how that plays in. And I know that maybe you might not have anything to add, and maybe it has everything to do with what we already talked about. But as far as like making the most of downtime and your thoughts on like practices, if they find themselves in downtime, let's like focus a little bit more on on bringing new patients into the practice. I don't know if you have any like actionable advice or something, but if you find that your schedule has fallen apart and your hygienist is sitting twiddling her thumbs, you've tried to reactivate your patients and you're trying to bring in new patients, what advice maybe do you have for them? And maybe it has nothing to do with marketing, and anybody can take it, but
That's a really good question, and I want to give you a response that I think dentists that are listening to this would really value this, and it's a simple response. One thing we notice with practices that are struggling with their overall new patient flow, and that's the topic of the funnel question, is that, right? And look, the reason practices are struggling with a consistent new patient flow is because the way their marketing methods are set up, it's set up in a wrong way. So what I mean is, and let's get to the basics, where if a practice has a certain amount of marketing dollars in their budget, the owner dentists of that practice need to think of, well, I have limited budget. How's the best way I can spend my budget? It starts from there. am I spending my money on need-based marketing, or am I spending it on interest-based marketing, or am I spending it on referral-based marketing, or am I doing all three in a small budget? Or I have a solid budget. So it really depends on what your budget is, but the way it should be, obviously your referral patients are the best, but unfortunately you're not gonna get consistency with referrals. That's something where you want to have, because nothing's going to beat your referral patients. So it's not a matter of doing it or not doing. But the other thing is, doing your marketing should be prioritized based on need based. So people that are actually looking for services like dentist near me, and then move into interest-based marketing, which is again example like social media, mailers, things that are not necessarily attracting people that are instantly looking for a dentist near them, or an implant provider near them, Invisalign provider near them, whatever the case is. There's different funnels. So that is really the basics, where I've noticed most practices struggle to make the right decisions on where it's best for them to spend their dollars, and for the most part they do end up wasting a lot of money. And this is kind of to our listeners, we're showing a funnel basically, as far as your number one marketing is your existing patients, where it doesn't cost you anything. And then after that, you want to go to your need base, because these could be your consistent flow of new patients that are coming in. And then your referrals, again, this is an important source. This could be by engaging them in raffles in the office, and share a smile. We call it share a smile, where you can refer friends and family to be entered in a raffle or some sort of giveaway. And then after that would be your interest-based marketing, which could be a mix of branding and social media ads for lead generation purposes. But if you're need-based and your new patient follow-up is not there, then the practice is always going to be in a roller coaster. And it's not only just doing the marketing, but okay, you get the lead, you get the phone call. How are you guys are actually following up with your patients? What's being said on the phone? Is someone actually listening to your phone calls? And holistically, if the whole thing is in place, then you'll notice your practice will become recession proof. Like you won't have to deal with downtime, whether it's September, December, or whether you're in when we first started with COVID, or if we're going through a recession. Same thing. It's all about fundamentals as far as how it's set up.
I love that. That's, if you're listening and you've listened to a lot of marketing, that is, especially marketing in dentistry, that's a different take, because people will put the referral above all of it. That includes like asking for a referral, asking for a Google review, right? Like, and putting that out there, right? Or a referral of like a specific, like, hey, put this on social media or whatever, because it seems to be the thing that works to them the best. But you're saying that, like, I love that you've got your patient retention first, and then your needs, and then your needs based. And the thing that is interesting to me is, and especially in September, I think a lot of people get to a point, they might have downtime, but to take the moment of, okay, I'm not doing the dentistry that I want to be doing. Like, I want to be doing more Invisalign, or I want to be doing more implants. And so focus on that need-based marketing first. Because obviously, like, take the pivot, take September to pivot, and then focus on what you want to do. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is what I love about these guys, Katie, is most marketing people that I talk to, literally, they don't know Medento, they don't know Local Med, they don't know Dental Intel, they don't know PMS softwares. And I'm like, how can you advise a dentist on how to run their marketing campaign as an external CMO without knowing dentistry? And so the cool thing about these guys is I'm in alignment with how they market. And it is retention first. So my number as a hygiene first coach is pre-appointing. Every patient leaves with 2 appointments, a hygiene appointment and a restorative appointment if necessary. So one of the things that I talk to these guys about is what we call our 50-50 model. We really want to keep within that 50-50 model. We don't want to be a fully digital marketing practice. We don't want all of our patients to be non-referred, because I got to be honest, some digital patients are crazy. Like, they call you, they're not a friend or a family, they don't know who you are, they're just looking at your story online. And we listen to all incoming and all outgoing calls, and they're crazy sometimes. And so having 50% of our marketing be internal and promotional marketing, for me, makes sense. And they agree with that. Most marketing companies are like, well, give me more money and we'll, I'll bring you more new patients. And it's like, well, we want the right type of patient. So what my practices are doing is they're learning how to graduate and allocate their marketing spend in the right buckets to give them the greatest return on investment.
Yeah.
And when they get to that interest-based, I used to believe you need to see 100 new patients to find that 1, 2, 3 new patients that need, a cosmetic makeover or that need implants. That is not true. So over the last 5 years, what I've learned from these guys is we can market specifically and tell a story specifically for that all-on-4 patient, or that smile makeover patient, or that Invisalign patient, clear aligner patient that you're talking about. So
Yeah. I love that.
They know Dentrix, they know EagleSoft, they know Open Dental, they know dental software. So they're fully immersed in what the practice needs. And then I'll be honest, you guys take accountability for the result, which I appreciate. Most marketing companies blame someone else, and it's
getting measuring ROI in marketing, especially in dentistry, it's tricky. It's a tricky job. So I think you guys have got that dialed in pretty good. So the last question that we ask, and I could go on for a long time, but we're gonna have to move on. We're gonna have to finish it up, but we'll have you on in another time, and I'll get your names right. What does growth in dentistry mean to you? This is a question we ask all of our guests, and it's because it means something so different to everyone.
Should I say?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
All right, perfect. I'm a basketball fan, so the late great Kobe Bryant said, you got to wake up every day, be a little better than you were yesterday, and it's a process. So when you open up dental intel, you see all these stats. So I think growth in dentistry is becoming better at each of these little boxes that you see in your performance board, right? You want to have higher hygiene reappointment. You want to have more production. You want to reduce the patients that have become inactive. You want to have more new patients. And it really is a team sport. And each member of the staff, whether it's the doctors, front office, the managers, and everyone have to be on the same team to facilitate that handoff that comes in from top of the funnel, which is marketing, and then to sales, and then front office, and then the doctors. So that each year that you compare yourself to your previous year, that on each of these different verticals that you look at, you're growing and you're on the upward trajectory. So that's what I think growth in dentistry really means.
That's awesome. Yeah. Anybody else want to chime in? Great.
Growth in dentistry for me is, let's admit it, we're so fortunate. We're lucky. I'm grateful. 50% of Americans don't seek annual dental care. If you don't feel like you're in abundance and you don't feel like you can share your knowledge, you're wrong. There's so much room in our industry. It's amazing. So for me, growth for me, Katie, is your platform. It's why can't we get data out there to help each other improve our individual performance? And so I'm just not a scarcity kind of guy. I never have been. I love sharing pro tips. I love sharing good news, and we need to do more of that. That's growth in dentistry to me.
Awesome. Any, I mean, you can join or you can leave it at that
I'll
because those
join.
are some two great.
For,
Yeah.
yeah, for me, growth in dentistry with my marketing glasses on, it's really being able to build a business, meaning in this case, a practice that is so consistent and scalable at the same time predictable, where you don't have to worry about, again, whether September or um, basically making it recession proof. So to me, that would be really the theme for growth in dentistry, especially this year.
Yeah, really great. Awesome. Well, guys, it's been super fun for me. Thank you for taking the time out of your days
Thanks
to
for
help
having
me.
us.
Yeah. If they want to get a hold of you, Steve, let's start with you. How can they reach you at Inventive Dental Solutions?
Oh, my email is my name with a middle initial. So stevelsperry@gmail.com. inventivedentalsolutions.com is my website. And then my phone number, honestly, I'm a boutique coach, is 214-505-6586. Just text me. That's the easiest way.
Awesome. And Ardi and Amir, how can they get a hold of you?
So our website is ddsmarketing.io.
I just put it in the chat in case.
Perfect.
It's in the chat too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll write it down to make sure it's so ddsmarketing.io.
There.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And, I'll give you Artie's phone number because I don't want to get spam calls. It's 818-900-3050.
That's so funny. Well, that's awesome. That's nice of you guys to give your cell phone numbers. It's helpful for those people that are would rather text. So that's very nice of you.
Right.
Okay. Well, this has been Growth in Dentistry, a dental intelligence podcast. Again, special thanks to our guests, Amir, Ardi, and Steve. So glad to have you. And for those of you that we'll make sure that those links are in our webpage and phone numbers, and then also the link to getting $50 demo or $50 gift card when completing a demo for dental intelligence. So thank you again, and thank you to our marketing department.